Here for the Field of 60. Today, we are bringing you another episode in our Off the Carousel series, where we will be joined by each and every new head coach to the Division One ranks. There are almost 60 of them. We're going to be rolling these out a couple of days throughout the month of May and the month of June. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And if you like this interview, don't be afraid to tap that like button. That stuff really does help our channel and help our presence on YouTube. It helps more people like you find this content. And since I have you guys here, make sure that you check out our Instagram and TikTok pages. We are going to be pumping out more unique content over there throughout the summer heading into next season. Like, for example, did you know that Penny Hardaway was shot when he was a player in college? I bet you didn't know that. There are more stories like that on those pages. The links are in the description below. So now, without further ado, let's get into another edition of Off the Carousel.
Episode of Off the Carousel. I'm joined by new UMass head coach Frank Martin. Good to be here talking to you, Frank. Are you worried that you'll see my dad a little too much being in the same state as us now?
I worried. I almost didn't take the job because I knew I was so close to him. Big hang up in my contract negotiations was to make sure that he's not allowed in the building. So it's the school signed off on not letting him come in to see us play.
And you were making these contract negotiations like while you were going on the Field of 68 with my dad after dark. I was there in Chicago with him, and I was falling asleep because I had a long day. But how did you have the time to do that? Literally, as you had just finished up your contract negotiations.
It was a crazy day, but I had promised your dad that I was coming on that night, and I try to keep my word. And it's hard to do sometimes, but I work really hard at it. And so I had to tell him before the show started, like, hey, I'm right in the middle of this thing. Let's please not talk about it because it's going to get me in some trouble if I do. And that's why your dad's the best. He respected the truth, and he allowed us to have a great show. And, we made some little side jokes about it, which kind of we all laughed about. But I was doing the show and I was right in the middle of the whole deal. So it was an interesting night.
And so you were at Kansas State, then you went down to South Carolina. What people may not realize is that you were at Northeastern. You were in this area before for a little while. So you do know the area, but what was it about UMass that led you to take the job?
I guess I'm getting older. So I'm a true believer that the book is written, and we're just trying to figure out what the chapters have to say. My college career started in Massachusetts. I met my wife in Massachusetts. My daughter's born in Massachusetts, and then my wife happens to be a University of Massachusetts graduate. Anya was a record holder at UMass, an Atlantic 10 champion as a hurdler. The timing, Ryan Bamford, the athletic director that hired me here, he called right after I was dismissed to South Carolina. I like dismissed more than fired. Fired just don't sound good. Dismissed sounds a little better. But he called and I wasn't ready to talk. And he called again the following Monday. And this time I was in a better place. And give him credit. He made me feel good again. Talia, the one thing that a lot of people think that because you make a lot of money, when you get fired, it's all good. No, it's not. A piece of you, when you get fired, a piece of you dies. A piece of you kind of just goes away. And when you're the head coach, you're responsible for a lot of people and their families. And when you get let go, you know that there's change to every one of them human beings that you're responsible for. And so it's a difficult time. But Ryan made me feel good again. And the fact that Massachusetts, I remember back in the day what this place used to be, how much fun it was to watch a UMass basketball game, and my wife and her ties to the university. And I got really excited really fast, and everything happened over a 3-day period. And I couldn't be happier than what I am right now.
And you mentioned what UMass used to be. Obviously, it has history back when John Calipari coached there. Have you spoken to him to get any advice or just talked to him about it?
Yeah, we spoke before I spoke with the university. He and I talked, and then we spoke again during the process. And then as soon as I said yes, we spoke a third time. And he's really proud of this university. I know this university loves him. The stuff he did here was special. And I'm just hoping that we can have a small piece of the success that he had. If we can do that, that means that we've had we'll have a heck of a run in our time here. And he's been very supportive. I'm really proud of Cal for that.
And you also mentioned your wife having something to do with it. How did she feel about coming back to her alma mater?
She was nervous at first. She was, it's like we had kind of gotten to a place a couple years ago where we just, in our minds, we'd been to South Carolina for 10 years. And we had just basically come to peace with the fact that chances are we're going to retire in South Carolina. And then everything started changing a year ago. And so then we as a family understood that change was probably coming. And when you don't know where the change is coming to, it's kind of weird. But then when this started to become a possibility, she was nervously excited. I don't know if that makes sense what I just said. And there was a lot of emotion, trying to figure out if coming home was the right thing to do. But the more we spoke, the more excited she got. And I can't wait for her to be up here full time, because I said this the other day. She gave up her career, and she had a better career than me at the time to help me chase my career. And coming back here, now our children get to be around her, where she had incredible success, and where people come up to her and say, "Huh, Anya, is this your husband?" rather than always asking her if she's my wife. And I think that's going to be a great experience.
And so what's it been like getting used to the weather in Massachusetts? I know it's a little bit of a shock from South Carolina.
That's the understatement. I'll never forget, I'm a Miami guy. And my first day living away from Miami was living in Boston. And that Indian summer that comes around in early October, I was all excited. And then winter gets here. And then, it's different than what I grew up experiencing. Now, after 10 years of South Carolina, we gotten spoiled with the weather again.
Right.
But here's the thing. I hope I got plenty of time to retire to nice weather, but I still got a lot of fuel in the tank, and my family's awesome. And so it's away we go. Winter's part of the experience. And the great thing is, I don't coach baseball, I don't coach football. I coach indoor basketball. So during the season, when things are really cold, I'm indoors 99% of the time. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, just have the hot chocolate ready to warm you up. A nice fire. You'll be all set.
Here's I got to share this with you, because this is the one thought that always went into my mind as I'm trying to make the decision. Am I ready to shovel snow at 6 a.m. after getting home at 2 a.m. after a bad road loss? Because you don't avoid those when you coach. So I guess the answer was yes, because I said yes. So I'm sure when the day comes, I'm not going to be real excited about it.
Yeah, that's very big of you to have the answer be yes. I don't know if I'd be able. I sleep in. I make my parents do it, but I'll help a little bit. But it's not my thing. I'm not a big snow person. So I wanted to touch on college basketball a little bit as a whole, and get your thoughts on how you feel like the transfer portal has shifted the makeup of forming a team, especially being a head coach coming into a new team.
I'm not against transferring. I just think that this wild kind of place that we're in right now, that we could have created some parameters to allow young people to transfer for the right reasons and allow them to play right away for the right reasons. The way it's been created right now, it's a little too much. But it is what it is. I'm not here to criticize. I was behind closed doors and plenty of meetings, and I made my piece on different ways I thought this would work better. I know a lot of coaches did that. Matt Painter, Bob Huggins, Tom Izzo, John Calipari. We all worked really hard at trying to create ways where, at the end of the day, it's hard to what's the word I'm looking for, to sustain consistency without order. You got to have order. And right now, the way that this is set up, there's no order. It's just it's just crazy. But it is what it is. I'm not here to complain. I'm not here to criticize. It's the new chapter that's kind of been written. And now we all have to adapt, and we have to move forward and continue to worry. We all worry about the ones we don't get or the ones that leave. We got to make sure as coaches, we keep worrying about the ones we do get and the ones that stay. Yeah. And that's where our focus and our energy should be. And it's we'll figure it out. That's what we do. We always have new rules and new ways, and we all adapt and move forward. And we're in the middle of the adapting phase right now.
It was a pretty quick turn of the page into a new chapter. What's it been like watching it all change so quickly with the portal, with NIL, just college basketball as a whole? It's been a pretty quick transition.
Yeah, I'm kind of lucky, just being on the NABC board of directors. I'm privy to a lot of conversations that I was not caught off guard. I kind of knew this was coming. It was just a matter of if, not when. For the last 3 years or so, we were engaged in some really intense behind the scenes conversations on trying to make sure that we kept a little order in the change that we knew was on its way. So I wasn't caught off guard, but now that it's here, there's really, I think it was Mike Tyson said it best. He goes, "It's all fun and games, so you get punched in the face." I mean, it's, I don't care how much you prepare for something you've never managed. When it first punches you in the face, you got to adapt and you got to figure it out. And that's where we're at right now. So it's a new change. It's not a change that some people are comfortable with, but it's a change that I think to a certain extent was needed. And so we all have to adapt and move forward with it.
And I know you have been busy since getting to UMass, putting this new team together. What are your expectations for the team this season? What are your thoughts going into this season?
Well, let's tie the portal back to what we've been talking about. And in the past, with transfers having to sit out a year, you depended on freshmen, first year college players. And that's never easy to do. The freshman year is the most complicated year in every student's life. So it's no different with a basketball player. It's really difficult and complicated. And there's a lot of different emotions that go into that freshman year. So depending on 17, 18-year-olds is never an easy thing to do. But because of the portal, you can have a mix of young and older players. And we were lucky at UMass. There's some guys that we've recruited really hard out of high school that chose other schools that we've been able to go back and re-recruit this time around. And obviously we have not released anything yet. So it's hard for me to be specific, but we've been able to get some guys that I've had prior relationships with. And that when you can do that, that makes recruiting a little easier because both parties already know who they are as people. And so it's just a matter of figuring out how that piece of the puzzle kind of fits into the big puzzle. And that's what we've been able to do here. And we've been able to start filling up our roster.
And how's it been being able to meet some of the fans and the students at UMass? I saw that you went out with the players, brought the fans some pizza, and they played some pickup. What's it been like getting to know the fans and just the students at UMass?
Oh, it's been incredible. It's there's a vibe on campus right now and in the community, and I also think the whole state, about where we have a chance to head to, what we can become once again. And obviously, we haven't accomplished anything yet. We haven't practiced for a single day, let alone win a game. But that's part of the deal. It's I had to go tell the students that we need you. And it was a beautiful day, and the outside courts were packed with students on campus. And my marketing guy, George Brisbane, and me, we said, let's go do this. And we headed out there, and we took the players, and it was a great time. And I think the students really appreciate when coaches go out of their way to go thank them and let them know how much they're appreciated. And then the same thing around the state. I've been hiring a staff and recruiting for the last 4 or 5 weeks. And now it's a matter of utilizing May and June to go around the state and get into different communities and just go. It's my job to give people hope when it comes to basketball at UMass. That's my number one job. I got to give our players hope, and I got to give our fans hope. Then I got to give everyone direction as to the path that we need to be on to go succeed. Right now, I'm running around giving everyone hope that it's going to be okay. And here pretty soon, we got to start showing the path. And then eventually we got to go out there and win games and get everyone even more excited about what we're doing.
And my last question here might be the most important. So you mentioned you were recruiting a few guys pretty hard. I saw that your son Brandon is in the transfer portal. He played for you at South Carolina. Are you recruiting him really hard to join you?
Yeah, it's I guess I can speak about him, right? He's my son, so that trumps. Yeah, in the recruiting rules, they always tell us that when you're recruiting a young man who's coached by his dad, the rules, being a dad always trumps the rules for a coach. So I'm going to take advantage of that to answer your question, and hopefully I don't get in trouble for speaking about my own son. But yeah, we've talked, and we've tried really hard to keep our personal and our basketball kind of separate. It's a lot more important to me to be his dad for the rest of my life than it is to be a coach for a year or two. But he last year coming to play for us, it helped our relationship tremendously. I was worried that it was going to hurt our relationship, but he handled it like a champ. He was a stud. The way he helped our team, he earned his way on the court, helped us win games, and developed. He earned all our trust. And now that he's transferring, we're talking about it right now. He's probably going to come up here in a week or so. He graduates on May 7th. So he's probably coming up shortly after that and spend a couple days with me up here. And then he's got to make a decision if this is what he wants to do. And if he does, then he's got to go tell the family that he wants to try and do this again, because it ends up, the basketball ends up making it a family decision.
Right.
And we got to make sure that everyone's on board to help manage that dynamic for another year.
Well, I really appreciate you joining me today. That was Frank Martin on Off the Carousel. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Great. And again, I said this to you back in the pandemic last time we spoke. As you go through your journey, I hope you make all the money and have all the success you can, because it's what you deserve to put up with that guy that usually pops his head in the background every once in a while.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised he's not here right now popping his head, but I really appreciate it.
Thank you.